and welcome back to The Hole in the World, an actual play set in the world of the Invisible Sun RPG by Monte Cook Games. I am, as always, your GM, your host and producer, otherwise known as Great Zamino, also known as Zach. I use he, him pronouns, and I am joined once again by my lovely, lovely cast members. If they would like to introduce themselves, starting with Marcie.
Hello, it's still me, Marcy, aka Experimental Madness, which is still the username you can find me most places around the internet, for as long as I remain financially viable. um, and I am back once again playing Gabrielle, the iconoclastic ardent apostate who hosts a choir.
Amazing. Moving down the overlay, Bill, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bill, and I am playing Maurice Webb, a stalwart empath of the Order of Weavers, who turns tales into reality.
Amazing. Fantastic. Moving on to the other side of the overlay, Hopper, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
What are you going to do if I say no?
Well, don't say no.
Okay. All right. Hi, I'm Hopper. My pronouns are they, them. You can find me on the internet at fucking fail deadly with a 3 instead of an E, or under the legend tree. And tonight I will be once again playing, probably playing Okris, an iconoclastic ardent apostate who heralds endings.
Amazing.
And maybe if things go really wrong, you'll see the other one.
Interesting. Oh, don't threaten me with a good time. Finally, last but surely not least, Marissa, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Folks, I'm Marissa, she, her pronouns. I'm an editor of books and games and TTRPGs and things of that sort most of the time. And I play Curie von Hollingsworth, first assistant librarian of the Order of the Vance. She is an aromatic stoic who understands the words, guardian of Celestica's grimoire, curator of King Nine's library, maven of mirrors, mistress of monikers, and apparently seer of dead people, and or her sister's weird spirit that somehow is running around embodied in the conjurations of the house. That's Kiri.
Amazing. I love it all. And I'm so sad about what I'm going to have to put you guys up against. Anyhow, so speaking of which, I think that's time for a bit of a recap. And what better way to start than with our original intro music? There it is. So, when last we left our vislae, we had continued our sojourn into the Darkest House, which is an awesome resource if you guys are really into spooktastic mega dungeons and want to check out something for in the spirit of horror. You can find that from Monte Cook Games as well. But where we found our vislae, they had just gone to a secret chapel within the Darkest House. They had found their way and uncovered the truth that basically where they realized that a great deal of what was dark currently in the world had been the part of a spell that had been cast by Marlowe Anvers, our resident big bad evil guy. However, what was interesting in the chapel is I believe Maurice was able to actually pinpoint the magical effect that had been cast from this ritual, and having to choose between affecting the overall kind of world that had been touched by the darkness or affecting the caster, he elected to try to dispel some of the effects that that had been cast over the world by the ritual. What the kind of effects of those meddling are, we will probably eventually find out if they survive. This secret chapel promptly collapsed from some meddling on the part of Okris. Turns out when you put a hole into a wall that's being suspended within the kaleidoscopic void, reality tends to go sideways. You guys managed to make your way out of that chapel through the vent through which you had originally crawled, somehow inexplicably finding yourselves in the elevator room from which you had started prior to going to the main hall. In front of you, 3 doors. On one side, the room that you felt would be most... Oh, actually, it wasn't that actually that you found. I realize in retrospect, you actually found Maurice's kitchen, which had previously been devoured by the Darkest House and was changing in unusual ways. And not only that, but you found adjoining the kitchen a new room that you had never seen before, Maurice. That room led to a rookery that housed a figure known as the Raven Dream. You managed to convince it to accompany you in lieu of taking one of your own dreams from you. And you found out that that same Raven Dream was also perhaps the spirit of Marlowe Anvers's hope? We'll see. So essentially, whatever had kind of given rise to that creature, you will have to find out for yourself, but it has accompanied you in your pocket, Maurice. You have found your way from there to the library, wherein you found a strange picture book, as well as a number of other interesting reads, and encountered the Father, a towering figure, abusive and hurling epithets to everyone but Kiri, who, Kiri, you seem to believe that it was a manifestation of your father, Adrian von Hollingsworth, who looked upon you with haughty disregard, belittling your accomplishments and speaking down to you until finally someone was able to open your eyes to see what they saw. So, inside of that library, you found a curious picture book called The Prince of Stories, and made your way back to the central kind of elevator hall that you had found yourself, with 3 doors, one of which being the library door you came from, another being a mass of brass door, the key from which you had procured from the Raven Dream. It has swung open, and you now see a strange figure who has bid you welcome. And we're going to pick up from that moment. But first, we're going to need to change the music. This figure, tall, sinewy, and strangely dressed, its head, what would normally might be a humanoid head, has been replaced by the skull of a stag, with many adorned, strangely, horns spiraling from its cranium. It seems to smoke a long, artfully designed and crafted pipe as it regards you. Art enthusiasts, I take it.
Yes. Hello, I'm Maurice.
Greetings, Maurice. I am the Curator. A pleasure to make your acquaintance.
So this place is reflective of your tastes.
Well, and suited to my environs. But yes, I'd like to think that I have carefully picked the pieces on display.
Maurice kind of glances back and forth and says, well, we are but your humble guests. Right, guys?
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was sort of nodding at what Maurice was putting down, just being like, yeah, we're guests.
Are you all fans of art?
No.
Okris doesn't speak for me. I love art.
Oh, excellent. Which of these catches your eye, would you say?
And the figure gestures a long, gnarled finger with a nasty-looking black claw at the end of it towards the paintings, and kind of gestures almost kind of magnanimously through the entire room, which on either side of you realize there is a great number of paintings. there are several things at a glance that you can see, which is you see a what looks to be kind of an abstract expressionist painting of a little girl on one side, almost immediately to your left. On the right, you see a painting of an old woman and a dog. Just at cursory glance, the style is really not something you can kind of make out until you get closer to give it a more appreciative look. You see what appears to be the portrait of a man and an infant that is held in his arms. There is also a figure, kind of a large portrait of a smiling man at a distance, kind of glancing at you and out to the viewer with a lip pressed by a single index finger. These are the ones that you see immediately on your left and your right. Do any of you take an interest in a particular painting?
Can you remind me? Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Can you remind me, or maybe Marissa, you could help me remember where we left off with like Kiri's goal versus like getting down to the cell? Because I know that like we were trying to get down to the dungeon because we think we might find the seed there. But what else were you trying to do? Were we still looking for your sister?
Well, we found her, or like the shard I carry is like the piece of my sister.
And you've got 2 eyes now.
Yes, I've now got 2 of my sister's eyes. I don't She said something about having left me something.
Right, that's what it was.
I don't know if that was in effect one of the things that we have already found in the library, or if that is yet to come.
Okay. So nothing in particular in this gallery we find ourselves in that we are expecting to find.
Correct. Beyond the way, I think something recently, it might have been the father, like told us about the cell, or not just the cell is the way out, but like there is something else in the cell, or I think there was something in the chapel related to the cell, as I recall.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Marcy, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, with my seed of truth, when I'm looking at these pictures, is there anything, this is a complicated question. Do the pictures appear as you've described them? Or am I seeing anything different to this gallery?
Depends. Which one do you want to look at first?
Oh, you. I think you described one where there's like a man that's almost like shushing.
Yeah.
Or I'll look over there.
Okay. I am going to send you that.
Oh
painting.
no. Oh no. Oh no.
Let me know if that doesn't load for some reason.
It does not load.
Okay. Let's try this instead. 1 second. Ah, yes, the precision of copying and pasting.
Art form unto itself, truly.
Truly. Okay. I know what I need to do. I'm just going to open this separately. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what you see.
Oh, Lord.
Can the rest of us see this, or is this just through the seed of truth?
I will say that this is actually, I will say if you are going over there, you may certainly, I will paste that in, but is everybody looking at the same thing all at once?
I assume that Gav's heading towards a painting to take a closer look?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will follow behind, yeah.
Okris is mad dogging the curator.
Okay.
Yes.
Okris is mad dogging the curator then. Okay.
Yeah, just like standing and staring.
Is there something?
Just like.
Is there a painting that you would like me to show you, darling?
Are you talking to me, Zach?
I am talking to you. The curator is speaking to Okris.
No.
Well, we try to cater to all sorts here. But I will say, if you do change your mind, let me know. I'm always interested in new pieces as well. And all that being said, Kiri, what are you doing?
Kiri is going to, I think, still keeping an eye on kind of what's going on with the curator. She's going to sort of wander to whatever piece of art looks like it's in sort of the more like a shadowy corner or seems like it has gotten the least attention or spotlight.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because as you kind of are passing, and you've seen the two members of your party move forward and look at a couple of other paintings, namely this kind of portrait of a smiling man. You also find yourself drawn at one that they didn't look at, which is actually a fairly nice, kind of representative portrait of an old woman and her dog. But that is when the color kind of pops out at you from the opposite side of the room. And it is a painting in the style of a little girl wearing a blue dress, if you're familiar with that kind of abstract expressionist piece. But the eyes of this little girl have been ripped away from the canvas. And you recognize, even without the eyes, that this is a painting of Allegra as a child. What does it look like? Fill in the details.
Yeah, I mean, I think I want to say that it's for those of you who have ever seen BoJack Horseman, there's an episode where there's a family portrait that's like done up in like a very sort of 1940s style, like, oh, happy family, you know, like this sort of like staged kind of soldier going off to war sort of family portraiture. But in this one episode, there's just this sort of flicker on the painting where it's like the reality of the family situation back to that kind of like glossy, saturated performance. And I think there's something of that in this painting where it was clearly painted to be sort of like a study, like a formal portrait. Allegra was made to sit for this. There's like Greek influences, you know, like an urn that's meant to symbolize like the wisdom of Athena. Like this has been very intentionally structured, but like if you look at it from the side, if you look at it like the wrong way, it's like there's a little flash, and suddenly this is not like this sickly, sweet, smiling little girl anymore. This is like, in effect, something that looks closer to a monstrosity, or at least like a terror of a woman who's almost like banshee-esque, like controlling, strategizing, but in the guise and shape of a little girl. But it's like blink and you miss it. If you know, it doesn't like stay that way. It's just this kind of effect, enhanced, I think, by the current lack of eyes that the girl seems to show. But otherwise, it's very distinctly Allegra, you know, same dark raven hair. Sophanox is a kind of smaller chick on her shoulder. And then also, you know, just her kind of scintillating slate gray blue eyes would be there if her eyes were there.
And you hear the voice of the curator behind you. Its lip pressed to the kind of snout of the skull. Okris, you didn't even see this figure move. But just says,
Yes, it's rather incomplete without the eyes, I would say. It's a shame. The eyes of a child can see so much.
What happened to them?
This piece was damaged on its way to me. Unfortunately, sometimes what the house gives, it can just as easily damage or take away.
I think, no pun intended, Kiri looks at the curator with something of an appraising eye. You are the curator of this place, you say.
Yes, I am.
Does that mean you are also a dealer of sorts? Do you sell your pieces?
Well, it would have to be something fairly meaningful for me to give away a piece and trade even, but I am always looking to either complete my collection or add more to it. Did you have something in mind?
Well, and I think Curie looks up. This piece just seems to have caught my eye. Call it a fondness for stern little girls and the general staid formal portraiture she was painted in. But I don't know, is there something you would want?
Well, it's interesting. It's worth much less incomplete, but I'm always interested in powerful works of art, arresting depictions, as it were. And you just hear the snuffle of air whistle through the skull, as if it's sniffing. Interesting. And the curator turns back to look at you, Okris. What is it that you have there in your pocket?
Lots of things.
Is it something illustrated? Like old paper yet new? Your pocket begins to shake and to shiver, as if in fear.
Oh. Don't make me get emotionally attached to my pocket, Zach. That's weird. I think Okris puts a steadying hand and just presses it over. Which pocket is it?
I'd say it's probably on your right.
Puts a steadying hand over the pocket. Why don't you come and find out if you think you have what it takes?
You misunderstand the nature of this interest. I am merely a curator, a lover of art, and I can sense that on your person is a stunning piece of art that might make for a wonderful piece of this collection.
So what you're saying is you're not interested in it for the love of the art, but in your capacity to possess it.
It's interesting that you put it like that. But no, that's not my goal.
Oh.
And you see at this point the curator kind of sachets forward and kind of with a hand kind of leading on through the rest of the gallery. He moves deeper such that all of you would have to follow him in order to kind of see as he gestures to one wall and the other.
What precisely is quivering in my pocket?
Literalum. You can't help but notice, I mean, that's the thing, Okris, is I don't know if you've had any familiarity with Literalum. But what is interesting to you is this is a fairly hefty sized book now. It used to be, I'd say, the size of maybe like, you know, a pocket book, like or kind of like a trade paper book, but hard and leather bound. And now it's significantly larger, as though about the size of a fairly hefty library tome.
I think Okris is going to do their best to try to soothingly stroke the spine of Literalum.
Okay.
It is a deeply unnatural feeling.
Yes, this is wondrous art. What do you think of it when you look to see all of it? Come into the gallery if you wish to appreciate more. And he kind of looks expectantly at what looks to be a series of paintings that are further in the gallery. Gabrielle and Maree, when you glance back at the painting of the smiling man, the subject of the portrait is now gone from the canvas.
I was worried about. Do I notice that has been the case with some of the other paintings that are around me?
No, just that one.
Well, great. Really zeroed in on the right one then.
And he looks kind of, he is just kind of taking his time and admiring things. Go on.
I'm just gonna give like Maurice and Curie a look like, are we sure we want to keep going deeper into this?
I think Maurice brings Gav's attention to the portrait of Allegra, and walks over to Curie
Uh-oh.
and says, so do you think it's best to put the eyes back or take the rest of the painting?
Very much gives Maurice a look. And then, like, out of the corner of her mouth, I was just admiring this beautiful painting, Maurice. Don't you think it's striking how her eyes are missing? Wow.
Yes, I do. I do think it's striking how the eyes, what an interesting, damaged painting.
Definitely. It's very striking.
No.
No.
They've been lost to time, unfortunately.
And I think that is when the curator starts gliding back over.
Yes, you are still interested in this work.
Unless something else catches my, you'll forgive the expression, eye. I think it could make a nice addition to, I work for a university, UC, and we have, as though suddenly inspired, we have a whole archive, actually, of work that looks remarkably like this, and I would be very interested to show it to some of our specialists who could compare the ink and paint used, brushstrokes, to some others in the collection, and see if perhaps this is a lost work of sorts.
Oh, interesting. An exchange between institutions. I'm afraid I'm more of a private collector, but if there is a trade you wish to propose, perhaps a work of art of your own devising, or perhaps that of another, I'd be most interested. I am looking for something to fill that frame in particular.
And you see the curator gestures towards the back of the gallery, in which sits an empty frame.
It's like, what is the size? Does it seem like it's for a specific work that the curator is trying to acquire, or is it just sort of like a vacant space that anything could kind of fill?
Are you posing this question to the curator?
I am posing this question to, can Curie suss this out without having to ask explicitly?
If you would like to try to read at a distance the nameplate, you must go ahead and give me a perception check.
I can do that. I'll add a bene. That is a 7, plus 1 is 8.
Okay.
We got to roll for the house, right?
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yes,
the house.
please do.
One moment. That's a 5 for the house.
Excellent. With an 8, you can just see at a distance one word for the title in bold print. Escape.
Tell me, Curator. I think Curie sort of sidles up as though she has this sort of way, I think, perhaps it is being a von Hollingsworth in her blood, but she can kind of turn on the like, I belong to a class that collects art and, know what I'm talking about sometimes vibes. And so I think she sort of sidles up to the curator and says, tell me, how long have you worked in this particular institution?
No, maybe tens, hundreds of years at this rate.
And do you like the work here, I mean?
I love it here. I love this place after a fashion. No one can truly love this place, for it does not love anyone in turn. It is not a house in the most traditional sense. But what I do appreciate about it are the enterprising souls such as yourselves, who find their way into my gallery, who find something that they need, an opportunity that I am able to grant them. It gives me life, purpose.
But surely you must have come from somewhere before your employ at the house.
Oh, certainly. We're all from somewhere. But life really didn't begin for me until I found my way here.
And so this is a vocation to you.
Yes, very much so. More so than my previous endeavors.
Tell me, have you ever thought about the world of art beyond this house? Aren't you curious?
Beyond this house?
Yes.
What place? I have been many places.
But if you have been here so long, surely you must have missed how the art world has progressed without you. Across different suns, the new trends, the new artists.
Suns. Fascinating. A whole other place with suns still. I ate my sun. And I found...
Tell me more about that.
It was just so droll. Nothing left. I reveled in triumph. I exulted in it. And yet, there was nothing left. Nothing would remain. There was no art. There was no purpose. Nothing, just void. Until I saw a door. And walking through it, this place, it calls to me, to this room. It knows it cannot frighten me, but it knows that it cannot kill me, not in any way that truly matters. I have nothing to offer it. And yet I carved for myself this place. And then people like you started arriving. People with hope and light still in them, even in this darkest place. Well, I could go on, but really, we're here about the art, about the curation, about fine works. Surely there must be something you would wish to trade, or perhaps you wish to admire.
What's your favorite piece?
One can't pick favorites when it comes to art.
The newest, then.
But, well, you are looking at the newest painting. However, and he begins walking towards the back of the gallery, I have a quad tick that I absolutely adore. I think it has some significance to the other members of the house. A young figure, I can't recall his name at this juncture, came in wishing to learn more. I sent him on his way, but I can't seem to recall any of our conversation. Strange. But yes, if you would like to see.
And he begins walking towards the back.
Reese will kind of give a shrug and follow.
Collectively, this set of paintings is called the Wheel of Blood. I don't know who granted it the name. The title of the artist is lost to history. The name of the artist, I should say. However, what's interesting is each individual piece. This one, and he points to a painting of hungry wolves descending upon, or preparing for the hunt, is called Mater. This, Pater. And he then kind of gestures towards the second of the quad tick, which I will add to the file here. And finally, we have Frater and Soror. Collectively, I know that the depiction is quite barbaric, and yet I find it compelling, strangely powerful.
And of these images, just so our viewers can kind of understand what you're seeing, you see just a series of these kind of almost like folkloric gods and figures from some sort of dark world, as they usher through in tones of sepia and black and charcoal and vivid blood red. You see what unfolds is the hunt of wolves as they descend on a stag. To devastating effect, they appear to rip it apart, whilst these forest gods or folkloric figures and creatures out of almost folk horror watch and gaze on with red glowing eyes.
Yes, there is something powerful about it. It speaks to the essence of this place. Finding sustenance in the innocent, the unawares, those that thought that they could travel into the woods unaccompanied by the rest of their herd.
Were you the stag?
Oh, perhaps at one point long ago. But I don't think anything qualifies as a greater wolf than I am, or was. What do you make of the series?
I'm not sure. To me, it simply looks like the cycle of life.
Go on.
There are hunters. There is a hunted. And in this one, it seems that the prey realizes they're going to die.
It's interesting you say that. It reminds me of the young man, elder? Hard to remember. I've never had much of a memory for faces, only for art. But he had the look of one who was hunted and knew they were on their last legs.
Where is he now?
I believe he headed towards the cell. He asked for information about the enemy of light. Perhaps another figure like me in this place, with a wholly separate purpose, I imagine.
Anyone got a piece of paper and a pen? Okris? Curie?
Chris tosses a pulp fiction novel at your head.
I got a pen here somewhere. And Maurice starts very much in the view of the curator, taking a sketch of one of the 4 scenes, just doing his own little. Says, you know, I work with words. I can barely draw stick figures, but I feel compelled to just take a little record of this. Do you ever create?
Unfortunately, my talent was only to destroy.
Oh, why don't you give it a try? And he flips open a new page and holds out the paper and the pen and says, sketch something. Creating something, even something poor, is worthwhile. Maybe you could be on the walls of your own gallery. Who could stop you?
He leans forward at this rate. I'd like you to make me an interaction roll. This is going to be a 15.
Okay. I have no bene. I'm gonna sortilege.
All right.
Okay. I tied with the house.
Okay. It's not less than the house, so that's fine.
It's not less than the house, but and I can choose to add what I rolled on the house die to my total.
If you take a doom.
If I take a doom. Well, that's the only way I win.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing it.
Okay. Just out of interest, what was your total before you add the house?
Before I add the house, my total is 7.
Okay. So I would ask you to do, I think that if you wish to take this doom, you will. And you will succeed in basically getting this figure to inscribe himself. Is that what you still wish to do?
I do.
Okay, take a doom. And he begins sketching. And it's almost like a woodcut, but it's done with pen. And the figure does so preternaturally quickly. Its hand seems to blur as it makes the image on the page. A little tiny study of himself, almost like a thumbnail for greater work. And he holds up the finished work, and he turns it to face you, and it is, it's like if, it's strange for all of the work that he did on the strokes and on the rendering. None of the detail shows up to you. It looks relatively abstract. However, Gabrielle, as you see what he shows, it seems to dance with color and renderings as though there's a whole other spectrum of light and art that this figure can see. There is a great deal of power associated with this. And he looks and he hands the book back to you, Maurice, and he says, and I will say that the thing that you get as he hands the book plainly back to you is there is no sense of malice here. There doesn't seem to be any sort of kind of ill will, but you do get the sense that there is kind of like almost a keenness and an understanding perhaps of what you may intend here. But he has just decided to forego that and push it forward and says, an interesting exercise. But it's not the piece that fits in that frame.
Oh yeah, you're right. This page is much too small. maybe we'll do a second version.
Yes. So, I believe that would belong to me unless you wish to trade for it.
Oh, you want this back? No, I didn't need it. It's your drawing, dude.
And he gracefully puts out his hand.
Here.
Interesting. It's strange. I've seen so many artists. Their renderings change over the time as their perceptions do, much the same. But my work never changes, and that's why it's inferior.
And he closes it.
But yes, is there anything else I can do for you?
Do you want to leave?
Why would I want to leave?
Because there's so much you've missed, of course.
Oh,
Art
no,
is
no.
about life. It is about capturing life. And what do you have down here but the mere few figures that happen to pass through these halls? No, it seems to me your institution is creating an outsized influence on your craft. It controls what you curate. Or am I wrong?
While I am very interested in a cultural exchange, I must be quite honest, I'm very content here. There's no place else that I could curate that doesn't allow me to capture life with the great vivacity that I find it here. All walks find their way to the gallery eventually.
You're not a creature of the suns anyway.
Not your sons, anyhow.
No, and the one that you consumed was dark, I imagine.
No, it was bright and vibrant and full of life, and I regretted it when I did it. Not
we
soon
saw it.
after, but long after. Yes.
Oh, I think we saw your home. Once.
Oh, it's long gone. But perhaps you did. Perhaps you saw it at a different time.
Still, I think the artists of the Vantian campus would certainly be interested in your perspective. As a secondment, if nothing else. You could be a visiting lecturer. I'm sure they'd have much to learn from you.
Perhaps. But I do not see with the eyes of a child anymore, with wonder.
The sun that you regret eating. Would that fit in that frame?
No, it was vast.
Well, surely not the sun itself. Maurice points to one of the 4 paintings. It's like, that is not a pipe, right?
Yes, I suppose so. I apologize. I sometimes take things far too literal. If you wish to create a representation of that sun, and you had the skill to offer and to fill the frame, I would be most interested. But how could you have seen it? I ate it long ago.
Well,
Unless there's something you haven't told me.
well, you could describe it to me, and a picture is worth 1,000 words. And maybe I'll give you 1,001.
Fascinating. Well, very well. If you wish to take your time to do such a thing, I will rest my laurels in the back of the gallery. But please take your time, and if there's anything else you wish about the art, I will be happy to oblige you.
Do
Maurice.
the subjects of your paintings often walk about?
Oh, you must mean the smiling man. He has a
He's not there.
tendency to leave.
Where does he go?
A place called the Back Rooms. I would be very careful about rising his attention, and I wouldn't mention his name in this room.
I didn't. You did.
A fair point. I guess I'm lucky he's gone then. Please take your time. The art is for the public. And he finds his way to a observation kind of resting seat towards the back and begins smoking his pipe.
I think Kiri's going to meander towards that empty canvas, the one that's. Can she take a closer look now at what it just says? Escape.
It says escape, and there is a question mark at the end of the word. Now that you are closer, it says artist unknown. Medium, wicker, and oak. And you see in the frame, it is a wicker kind of garnish and kind of additional kind of accoutrement layered over a strong, solid, artfully kind of Rococo-esque etched base frame.
We seen anything like that before in this house? Anything made of that material?
Actually, no. However,
Okay.
what I will say is that Kiri, as you get closer to it, and Gabrielle, as you kind of do your kind of investigation of the gallery or this area, you get a feeling of power radiating from the empty frame, as though similar to the chapel, to that kind of like basically that altar stone in the center of it, where it focuses the power from the window through the kaleidoscopic void. It seems like a tool, like a foci for something that is absent, but the frame radiates power. And as you get closer, I think you are able to make out little etched symbols within the tiniest like strands and branches of the wicker.
Can I look at this? I'm going to point out those small symbols that I'm not quite sure that I can read.
Mm-hmm. You see in this frame, you don't recognize any of the magical notation. None of it is Vancian. It is from a completely different world, you would imagine. Perhaps a different reality. But the thing that you feel is it is a confluence of the weave and the faintest glimmer of the current of magic. Like, breathe and it would just flit out.
Do you know what it is?
Does Kiri get anything else based on her sort of knowledge of both the current and the weave?
Give me a magical lore roll.
With pleasure. That is 12.
Okay. So I take it you spent your bene there?
Yes.
Okay. So with this, the idea here is that you recognize what a foci is. Essentially a tool or a material, something that like is more common in the practice of makers, which is often they are, you know, effective builders of conduits for powerful magic. And that's what this frame is. But the emptiness of the frame suggests that if somebody could put an object, a work suited to the concept of this frame, of significant power in here, it could create the effect of an escape from the house.
And Curie will look to the others, share that information. Do we have such an object, or is perhaps that what awaits us in the cell?
Maybe. Do we even know what this curator wants?
Clearly.
I'm kind of freaked out by him because he says he's not afraid of the house. That the house has nothing to take from him. I don't like that.
Maybe he belongs here. We don't know.
He said he destroys. Oh, Chris, that's your thing. Go talk to him. Go figure that out. Maybe you share some sort of common destruction vernacular. I don't know.
Hold on, did that come through the mic? Zoom might have just said no.
I
Yeah,
heard a snirk sound.
Okay. It just, yeah, you get like kind of a low guttural growl from Okris, and they will kind of button, I think with one hand, button the pocket that holds Literalum, and then pass this sledgehammer from one hand from the left hand to the right hand, and kind of squeezing the haft of this blood red weapon of destruction, walk to about 10 feet away from the curator, and just kind of put the head of the hammer down hard on the floor, palm on the butt.
What are you proposing, an installation?
No.
Then what is it you intend to do by scuffing my carpet?
I'm trying to figure out what you are.
I am a humble curator.
I didn't ask what you do. I said, what are you?
And he opens that Pulp Fiction book.
Do you truly wish to know?
And holds up a sketching implement.
It seems relevant.
And he begins sketching. And he was moving at a blur before. But now there is the sound of the air crackling as he moves fast enough to it feels like any faster and he would rip a tear in the air around him as he studies things, looks at the blank pages and flips and continues and still fills the pages with this rampant, ceaseless sketching. And point of fact, because you are closest, I am going to need you to make a resistance roll as the noise begins to fill your eardrums. You do have Master of Sound up. You did take an action at the end.
That's just a secret, but yeah.
Yeah. You do have Master of Sound up, so you will have a benefit to this roll. You're just trying to make sure that you do not roll lower than a 7.
Okay. And you said this is a resistance roll?
Yeah, absolutely. No, not resistance, withstand.
Withstand. Okay. Withstand, I have 1, and then okay, resistance is no, so it's withstand. Okay, so I'm looking at a +2, and if I were to use sortilege, what would that be?
You could roll 2 dice.
Oh, sorry, I meant bene, not sortilege.
That would be 3 unless you spent more.
But like, what bene would it be?
I think you could roll. I think that if you have, I was gonna say, magnificent. I think it was like magnificent effort. Basically, you can spend up to 9 if you have that. But if you have kind of like the lower one, you can spend up to 3 on a stat check, basically.
Okay, I'm looking at +2. I need to hit a 5 on a D10.
Mm-hmm.
And if I put is it movement? Is it physicality? Is it
Physicality.
okay? Well, that's the one I refreshed most recently, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I will put I don't know, 3 additional in there.
Okay.
So it's a total of +5, so I need to hit a 2.
Yep. And remember to roll your house die as well.
Yeah. I cleaned off my desk, and by cleaned off my desk, I mean I moved everything around.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to roll a dice twice.
Okay.
That is a 9 for my first roll, so a total of 14, and a 4 on the house dice.
Absolutely. Okay. So in that case, you hear as he's kind of scribbling, the sound of the writing instrument on the sketching is deafening. You manage to kind of manipulate the sound in such a way that it doesn't crescendo, but underneath, almost like an intonation under this, you just see him, like, you hear him muttering to himself, speaking to himself in a tongue that you cannot recall. As ancient as you are, this thing seems like it is speaking a language from outside of this reality. This person is a foreigner, something from beyond, outside of the actuality that you know. And he produces the novel. Every page is filled. Oh, yes, I believe you wish to know what I am. Well, this is how best I could present it. And do you flip through this book?
Okay, why not? Hey, why not, Zach? What could possibly go wrong? I can't imagine any way that this could really come back and fuck with me or everybody else terribly.
Okay. You take a point of anguish as you read this creature's story, which is the story of it was once a humble artist in a world completely different from ours. And then it decided at some point that the people that opposed it, that crushed its dreams, were enough that it needed to remove it from its reality. Essentially, it is the story of someone who would do anything for art, was prevented from doing it, and instead found power as a solace. And then it used that power to utterly level a civilization. From powerful mages to whatever kind of constituted robust warriors, a powerful party of adventurers was sent against it to oppose it in the midst of the ritual that would crown its triumph, and they failed utterly. And it was left in void and darkness. And it utterly hated being alone, and it regretted what it had done. And when a doorway presented itself to a world that oozed hatred and evil, it brooked no fear, it showed no fear, because it had nothing left to fear, because it had been the arbiter of fear for everyone else in that reality. And it finally had all of the time in reality to paint, to draw, and to love and appreciate art.
Trying to think about how to portray Okris's perception of this is very much like, I don't think they're gonna say this, but the energy that Okris is kind of reading this with is, all right, fucking amateur hour. Like, what do you mean you got sad and you decided to kill everything? Like, that's like pathetic. Destruction has a point. It's not
Say it, say it, say it, say it.
Say the line, Hopper.
Why? I think Okris just tosses the book back at the curator's feet. Oh, you're sad, huh?
Not anymore.
Yeah, that's not what I'm getting.
The skull inclines. You hear the clattering of ornaments in its antlers as it looks at you curiously. Pinpricks of a red light at the back of the skull studying you.
You got so sad you killed a world. Like, doesn't that feel kind of pathetic to you?
You are the one who asked. I'm the one who told. If you want nothing from my gallery and you do not wish to trade, then you can see yourself out. I have no interest in quarreling with you.
Do you want to be here?
Yes.
Why?
Because maybe by housing these artifacts, these depictions, it might mean salvation to those who come through. Or maybe inspiration for some other terrifying thing. Art has a purpose, and I have mine.
But. So can I have spent this last minute? So I mean, I feel like I've spent this last minute studying.
Oh, absolutely.
Which, because of the seed of true faith, they can. The bearer of the seed studies a person for at least 1 minute. They can determine what motivates their current course of action.
Yeah, absolutely. So the course of action in this case being what? Helping you or kind of entertaining visitors?
What's the real motivation here?
Real motivation is that it truly loves art. It felt restrained. It overreacted. And in the face of that restraint and that subjugation, and reacted with death and nihilism. What it does here is it is attempting to redeem itself in some small fashion. And I will say this, you shitting all over that does not make him inclined to help you.
If you wish
Have
to
you
make
considered...
Go on.
Thank you. Have you considered leaving this place?
I have. There's nothing out there for me.
Where do you think they came from?
Who?
Okris gestures back at the other three.
Some world with far more hope. Perhaps some place that has yet to meet the nihilism of darkness and void.
I haven't been a person for very long. But it seems to me you can't have grief without hope.
What I do here is provide a service. Imagine this place without this gallery, without this place to contain horrors and means of salvation. Would you really have me leave?
It's not my prerogative.
Then, what would you like? I have told you what I am interested in. There must be something of interest to you. That book in your pocket
No.
will grow to be a great and powerful grimoire. A fantastic source of magic. And when the time comes, would it be better in your hands in its young state, or in the hands of desperate heroes who brave this house to find an answer for whatever terrible thing threatens their reality? If they could find it here, don't you think that trade is worthwhile?
I don't trade people.
Well said.
Curie steps forward at that. Do you see what I wear on my hip?
And it inclines its head towards the grimoire.
Yeah.
Do you think that this grimoire became as powerful and full of warded and locked secrets as it is by sitting in a gallery, gathering dust, trapped in a cage behind glass?
I suppose not. But that...
So you would deny our friend's journey? Is that really art, if there is no narrative?
I merely prepare it for the next stage of art, for the next stage in its journey,
Which is to pin its wings.
until some other enterprising entrant into the house would make use of it, or it should choose to go with them.
So you really want to help?
Yes, but all things come with a price. I must have art for the gallery. I must curate. That is my purpose, and if I deviate, I have a sense that the house will know.
The house that you're not afraid of.
No. It would just make me harder to access. It might secret me away someplace where no other one such as yourself could find me, and then I'd have no reason to stay.
So you want to help the next group of adventurers. You'd love to help us. You've had adventurers before that you can't quite remember. Am I getting this right?
Yes.
How many people have you encountered here? Give or take.
Dozens, maybe more than 100. There are many
Wow.
people that find their way to the house. Maybe more.
And you think you're providing beauty and escape from the house, the last vestige of hope for all these people?
I try.
I don't believe you. If you truly live for art, this place, this shrine, to be seen by a dozen people? Shouldn't this art live in as many realities as possible? Shouldn't you magnify beauty and hope and tragedy and despair, and everything that makes this sublime?
And he gestures towards a painting of a hawk, a hawk-like bird, a bird of prey swooping towards the foreground, with a pyramid in the background of it. Paintings like that, you would have me put in the real world. Into your world, I should say.
In as many worlds as possible. Let them echo.
Do you look at the painting?
Yeah. Is it sick?
Yeah, it's real sick.
Is there like a wailing guitar?
It's kind of like a metal painting. I won't lie. However,
Belongs on a van.
the immediate feeling you have, I need you to make me a. This is going to be a resist, as the painting exerts a pull on you, and you feel yourself out of breath as you run from a shrieking, vast shrike over your head. Yeah, give me a resistance 8, if you will.
Lost one die forever, but here we go again. 2 on the regular die, a 6 on the house die, which I could succeed by adding them together. Well, no, so my resist, but I would, yeah, it's an either or, because my resist is a 3, so I got a 5 total.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need another doom here. I'll ride with a 5.
Are you sure?
Yeah, man, fuck me up.
That's what you want to hear from your DM. You sure?
You have
Hey, to those listening at home, pro move, man. Just are you sure about that?
you have a moment where you feel your heart pounding in your chest as you are being pursued by this creature. As this vast shrike begins swooping down towards you. The pyramid is in front of you, laying bare. This with kind of an open entrance. What do you do in this case?
I dive for cover in the entrance of this pyramid.
Yeah, you dive. You feel the shrike swoop down and nearly graze you with claws and talons. As you pick yourself back up, stumbling for the entrance, you manage to get into the pyramid. At which point, is it days or weeks that pass as you stumble in the dark of this place with torch light, your only guide, a sickening green. The elements of the sand around you, the kind of fetid air, seem to choke you over the course of the next few days. You become sickly and emaciated from the amount of time that you have spent in this place. But slowly, after finding your way through the pyramid complex, you manage to spot at the very back wall of what would normally be the chamber of a sarcophagus, a painting of a number of dumbfounded onlookers and a painting of yourself and the curator pointing to the foreground towards the viewer. What do you do?
Spend all of my energy getting through that painting.
As you touch the frame, you have that sharp intake of breath. All of the rest of you saw Maurice pause for like 2-3 seconds in a really off-putting way, and a streak of white made it through stark white, shot through the gray, goes through his temple, and another stripe through his beard.
You see, I think his face is about like 15 pounds lighter.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit more wrinkled.
Yeah.
What was that?
Taken anguish as the shrike in the pyramid has exerted its pull on you. So
yeah. Spread that around. Oh.
Now perhaps you see why it is better that I curate here.
I love the use of color.
Maurice, are you all right?
I'm not sure how long I spent in there.
It was just a second.
It was so long.
went into the painting, but you didn't move.
You were just looking at it.
And I think the terror in Maurice's eyes tells the rest of you.
The eyes are truly the windows to the soul.
You don't have paintings, you have predators.
Exactly.
So this is noble, you think? You're protecting everything else and everyone else from everything in here. Is that it?
Perhaps. Perhaps nothing else should mean something as terrible as I.
But isn't that an act of censorship?
Well, it's an act of curation.
Censorship, actually. Because no matter how sweet or innocent your viewers may be, when awful things happen to them, they get to see what they're made of. Am I wrong?
You are not.
If
What
you
is it that you
sanitize,
propose?
if you curate the output, you sanitize their experience. That's the violence of censorship.
And he regards you for this moment.
I take that moment to see who the artist is for the painting that just killed me.
Yeah, absolutely. This painting, it's by a name. It sounds vaguely, almost like Egyptian, as though it were from an alternate Egypt. It's vaguely similar, but there's not like a lot of the phonetics of that.
Yeah,
like,
Stargate
language.
Egypt. Got it. Yeah.
Basically, yeah. Perhaps it's like an Egypt world, essentially. As I said, I am happy to help however I can. But everything
way's
has
the
its
cell?
price. Well, there is a direct path, if you wish to go straight there. And he points to the Wheel of Blood. He points to the Wheel of Blood, and he kind of looks at it, and then looks back to you. I might humbly suggest that if there is a chance for you to perhaps prepare yourselves before the entry into that place, that you do so. The man that I sent down there was formidable, but I do not think that he survived. For I feel something powerful from below and from there.
I think Kiri will turn once again to the curator. Would you come with us?
No, I will not leave this place.
You aren't leaving it so much as you're creating art. I mean, you're still within the house.
But then I would be outside of my gallery. And you have not stipulated a benefit to me leaving and assisting you in this endeavor.
Surely someone who values art for its own sake doesn't need an incentive to capture more of it.
Oh, there is no art to be found down there.
Have you tried making some?
Not another monster to keep captive here.
You have an empty frame.
So what do you propose?
I
And what
always
do
think
you
it's-
offer?
I think Curie shrugs. Well, I always think that an artist is a good thing to have in a fight.
It echoes. That's the first I ever heard that said. But an interesting proposal,
I'm not wrong.
perhaps. But you have not offered anything in trade. I do smell something artful on your person as well.
I think Curie regards the curator.
He is drinking in a smell through his skull as it whistles. If you would like to make me an interaction or perception roll, depends on what you were trying to actually ascertain. What is it you're trying to figure out?
She wants to figure out, can we trust him?
Absolutely. Give me an interaction roll then.
All right, interaction it is.
Mhm.
That is 6 + 1, 7.
He's not lied to you or obfuscated the fact of what he is. He has not given you any reason to not trust him, besides just being ancient and kind of evil and shady as fuck. But
Apart from that part.
hasn't actually lied to you about anything. He just wants something in exchange.
What you may or may not know, or may or may not have ascertained, is that I possess a role, or I play a certain role. Have you heard of King Nine? Does that name mean anything to you?
No. I've not
He's a-
encountered such a name yet.
He's a very formidable demon where I come from. He has a vast collection. A whole trophy room, in fact. And it's full of, well, more predatory things than could ever fit in a place like this.
Don't let the size of the room fool you. But go on.
Funny. That's something I think he would say too. You see, I serve as something of a, how shall I put this, connector, a conduit, a librarian. For I am a librarian of the Vancian campus, an academic librarian, but I am also a curator of sorts of his collection.
Do you
Help
have
us
any
with
of his
this.
collection on your person now?
I have access to interlibrary loan. I am, after all, his librarian. That does give me, or afford me, certain accesses.
If you can produce a piece from his library right now to trade with me, I would accept it in kind. However, I also sense a few additional interesting pieces on your person. Souls. Fragmented, yes, but maybe perhaps collected. They make something very formidable and interesting. Perhaps a new piece, a collage of some sort. But there's also something deeper there. Oh. Fascinating. Yes, those fragments. And perhaps any other piece you may have on offer. A powerful artifact of some kind, of some decorative value?
Think Curie will produce the encasement, now empty, but perhaps with residual something, that is where the Countess von Aldringham's soul resided before it was released and relinquished in the Black Mirror.
This one is empty. You have others. I smell them.
I think Curie laughs. You think that I will give you a live, living soul? Isn't it more artistic, actually, to have the vessel of something that's gone?
He's a predator. Haven't you gotten all of that from the paintings? He needs to eat. If you can dress it up like art, that's just, I don't know, amusing to him. I'm not going to pretend that I understand.
But he thinks he's noble, Gav. Is there a nobility in predation?
I don't know. Maybe the wolf also fancies himself noble when he's able to pull off a spectacular hunt.
I
Who are we to
tire of this conversation. If you cannot appreciate art, if you cannot appreciate my work, my purpose, then you may leave. The
I never said I
elevator will
didn't
take you to the
appreciate it.
cell.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you something from King Nine's library. And I'll give you a curse dagger. Is that sufficient for your services?
The exhibit from the library. Produce it now.
All right, Zach, mechanically, how does this work?
What are you trying to do?
Curie is gonna access King Nine's library and pull something through. I imagine that this works kind of like her spell for the Vancian library, which is called Literary Query, or it's like if she thinks of a question and there is a book in the Vancian library that can't answer that question, it appears in her hands. But of course, even in that spell, if the book is not returned in a timely fashion, there will be consequences. So it does sort of start a countdown clock, as it were, up until the point that the thing that is missing is noticed to be missing.
You should know that you have kind of started a sword of Damocles swinging already. If you do this again, it may intone something different than what you are expecting.
Interesting. I think Okris, do you still in your coat pocket somewhere have your Leaves of Emotion from King Nine? They were twigs.
That's a great question.
The question is, does Okris know where they are? And are you helping them find it?
I think I would like to assist Okris with that search.
When you produce the Leaves of Emotion, I'm not going to make you guys roll for this. He will look at you and say, this is not a piece of work of art.
Emotion is not art?
Emotion is what art evokes.
Emotion is how art is made. There's a difference. And any curator worth his salt knows that.
Perhaps, but I am a curator. I am not an artist. I have no need of this. He is beginning to lose patience. Make a choice. Make a hard one. Make a choice that an artist would make. Make a sacrifice. Make something meaningful. Don't dodge around. Don't try to negotiate. I will know.
Fine. Curie pulls out the Kesh book. It's an illuminated manuscript, Silver Sun. It contains the remnants of what Kesh was.
Now, this is far more to my liking. And so what are you asking in exchange?
I think Kiri looks back to Okris. They were once a part of you? Do you condone this? Do you wish to be rid of them?
They were never a part of us.
They resided in you.
We resided in them.
Is there something you would wish in trade?
I believe that question is to Okris.
Oh, I'm an asshole and I shook my head. Instead of just saying it out loud. I think Okris just shakes their head and kind of looks down at the ground for a moment and kind of, I think there's a little bit of an uncertainty here, which is remarkably rare to see on the face of this not quite person. And we need to leave.
And he looks at you and looks back to the book and says, "Very well." And he takes the Book of Kesh out of your hands, regards the empty frame, and begins flipping through it, again blazingly fast. You wish an exit from the house? Yes.
And the time is right?
When the time is right. Very well.
And he begins shredding the pages, and begins constructing, almost out of like an ink rendering from the ink of the words. He forms a massive doorway and begins papering them over the spot behind the frame of the wall, pasting it onto brick, just seemingly like wetting a long tongue from under the skull and affixing the pieces to collage and form this massive archway. And then when this process, which takes several minutes, concludes, with this clawed, gnarled hand, he gently touches it, and you see almost a canvas rise from the brick.
You have your exit when the time is right. I wish you the best of luck.
Oh, I thought you were coming with us.
An exit or my assistance. What you asked for was an exit.
I didn't think these two things were mutually exclusive.
They are.
You don't want to come down and see what's in the cell. You don't want to know what's become of the person you sent down there. You're not even at least a bit curious.
I'm happy to spectate.
Then come spectate, by all means.
Very well.
You feel the brass key that you had used to open the door of the gallery flies into his hand and says, "Follow me then."
One more thing.
Yes.
I have a smoke.
He hands you the pipe.
Maurice takes it tremblingly.
think Kiri also points at the eyeless painting of Allegra. Also, can I have that? I did just give you a whole soul book. So.
Very well. This seems incomplete. And do you have, I sense, the pieces of it? Would you like it completed?
That's why I needed to know if I could trust you. See, I think you would benefit from seeing through a child's eyes for a while. Would you like to try?
If that is what you wish to offer, then I am happy to do this trade.
It's not permanent, it's a loan. You will learn, dealing with librarians, that things are given as loans. However, knowledge, I think, can take many forms. As can art.
Very well. May I? And he holds his palm outstretched for you to produce the pieces of canvas.
And she will.
And he almost seems to pass his hand with the canvas in it over the eyes of the painting, the missing eyes of the painting of Allegra. And it reconstitutes itself. It becomes whole. And there is this kind of humanizing effect that the eyes have with those storm blue-gray eyes on the painting. What a wonderful effect. Wouldn't you like to see with the eyes of a child?
I think it will do you more good than me.
Are you certain? And he begins leaning forward.
You first.
No, I think you. And he reaches his hands up to your face. All of you see as these clawed fingers begin to hook towards Kiri's eyes.
Sun's out, guns out.
All
I
right.
wouldn't.
Okay, because I need to, Zach, when you say he's licking the paint,
Oh my
licking the
God.
stuff to put on the wall,
Yeah.
how long, like, wait, you said
That's-
unnaturally long tongue. Are we talking like Nightcrawler, or are we just talking like Gene Simmons?
Well, in terms of the tongue, I think it lolled out. But the problem was there's not an esophagus there for it to kind of like be wrapped up. So it's a very long, lolling tongue. At least it would seem like it if you viewed it from below. But perhaps it's about the length of a normal deer tongue. Yeah. So the curator has gripped Kiri's face in his hands.
I'm leveling the rifle at him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't.
Are you firing?
If he even so much as twitches in the direction of doing something suspicious, yes, I am.
He twitches.
Uh-oh. I should say I'm not trying. He's putting the picture frame over her, correct?
No, he has gripped her face
Yeah.
in his hands, and he is hooking the clawed thumbs in towards her eyes. The fingers are now a millimeter away from your eyes, Kiri.
Specifically, I'm firing at both of his wrists.
Yeah, absolutely. You fire. Give me that roll. Are the other two of you doing anything?
Taking a big old puff.
What's my target?
15. Okris, what are you doing while this is happening? Go ahead and roll your dice.
It doesn't even matter what I roll. Well, no, hang on. It might. I do have +4.
Okris, what are you doing in this moment?
What precisely is he holding up to Kiri's face?
He's holding her face in his hands.
Oh, those were good rolls.
Let me see if I actually took this one spell.
Sortilege for it.
Kiri, what are you doing?
I think Kiri Camerata's Chekhov's Camerata's curse dagger. I think she has had that prepped at her side because, she had it out to give to him and he was not interested in it. And I think she sort of pokes it like toward his hip, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
In a kind of like she's intending to sort of stalemate it. You poke me, bro, I am gonna poke you back.
You feel the claws dig into the sides of your eyes. I assume the dagger goes through.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Marcy.
I have an action.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What would you?
Would you mind if I stepped ahead of you, Marcy? I think it might be relevant.
So might mine, because I just realized I can do something that is not my gun.
Sweet.
That
Go
would
ahead.
pop off at an instant because it's an ephemera object.
Okay. As you prep this object, Okris, tell me what you were going to do.
I'm going to rend time and cancel his next action.
Oh, you don't need to worry about that. Ironically, what I have is called So Dark My Eyes. And it is a level 7. My eyes flash with liquid darkness. It strikes any 3 near targets. And they will take 4 damage, and they will also lose their next action.
I will go ahead and say all of this happens at the same time.
I can say I fired my gun too, but I rolled just under the amount that I needed, 14.
Yeah. Perfect. Kiri.
So it's like in that blink as I'm like firing the gun, that happens. It just pops off.
Absolutely. Kiri, you, in the split second before the shot is fired, before time is rent, as Maurice kind of gives a guttural gasp of smoke, you see, instead of the Curator digging his fingers into your eyes, it's Allegra. And your vision goes black. You feel searing pain. And when your vision returns, the Curator is standing in front of the eyes of the child, just restoring it. Is something the matter? All of your spent sorcery and ephemery, you may return them to your original state.
It did nothing?
It didn't happen.
Horrifying.
I love that. What a move.
That's horrifying.
What just happened?
So, none of you perceived what Kiri did. Kiri, you have that sensation of pain that is fleeting flickly, like a flash migraine or a flash headache. And your vision returns to normal, and you're just staring at the Curator completing the transaction, pulling the key in his hand, and begins moving towards the exit. Shall we leave?
Am I even aware that I tried to do anything?
You are not.
Oh my god. So my gun isn't even out.
So
is Kiri aware that they tried to do things?
Absolutely.
Does Kiri have a sense of, okay, so Kiri has linear time and full memory.
Yeah. You have full memory of this hallucination, this waking nightmare. Because that's what it is. It was a waking nightmare for Kiri.
Talk about gaslighting. I love it. Quite literally. Did that happen? I don't know.
Yeah. In meta parlance, jump scare.
No.
And he opens the door of the gallery and looks to the rest of you and says, "Shall we?" And that is where we're going to take our 10-minute break.
Oh my god.
So, the Curator opens the massive double brass doors in front of you, leading the way out of the gallery. And says, "Very well, this way, please." And waits for all of you to exit.
I'm going.
I will say, Kiri, as you are exiting now, your eyes pass over the curator, and you realize that he now has Allegra's storm gray eyes.
That's very disconcerting to her. She's used to seeing those eyes in a very different context.
Yeah, absolutely. And he just kind of like looks to you, and what had previously just been glimmers of light at the back of his skull, you now see your sister's kind of almost imploring eyes looking back at you. I would recommend before braving the cell that you make any preparations you need. You have no idea what you'll find down there.
I need to restore one of my bene sorcery. Is it okay if I do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
If you haven't used your action and your 10-minute pools
have not.
refreshers, you can.
Yeah, I'm gonna refresh.
But yeah, he
I
starts.
desperately need to refresh a pool, but I don't think I can access my secret soul's gift of the child at this point. I feel a bit too haggard. So I think Maurice is entering this fight ill-prepared.
I do have a question for you, Zach. So my Eye of the Mana spell has been up because I only check for depletion after each combat encounter, which we haven't gotten into in a minute. It ends automatically when the sun next rises or sets, but there's no sun here. Now that I've refreshed my sorcery, would you like me to roll for depletion, or does it deplete automatically?
Go ahead. I think go ahead and roll for depletion. I will let you keep it up if you manage to get it.
Yeah, that's. Oh, do I need to roll for the house too for this?
No, not for depletion rolls.
Okay. I rolled an 8, so it's still up.
Perfect. Okay. Couple things, which is you hear a scribbling. And it's coming from the book that is tucked under your arm, Maurice.
What book is tucked under my arm?
The Prince of Stories.
Oh, sure. I open it up.
And you see that 2 additional pages in between the first set that filled in and the last set where you scribbled something in and it materialized, those 2 intervening pages have filled.
What do they say?
Read your chat message. But in the meantime, as you begin hearing that scribbling, you once again hear that whistling through the skull. Oh, that's interesting. I believe you have a more stark need of that.
Maurice ignores the curator.
Very well. This way. And you realize that as he moves with a purpose towards that wall that you realize is still kind of gauzy and kind of semi-translucent Gavriel to your vision. He moves with a purpose, sees it, and with no problem seems to pull something aside that you realize is that gate of the elevator, and steps in and waits for all of you there. When you're done with your preparations, I will be here.
All right. I'm gonna refresh that sorcery pool.
I think Kiri will somewhat warily go up to the curator. If you do want to, I don't know, enter whatever fray we may find down there. Is there a way to call upon you?
Oh,
And I think what Kiri's getting at, like, she wants some sort of, in effect, like, summon sign, you know, like boss fight where you can, like, bring the NPC in for an assist.
oh, I assure you, I won't do that. My days of blood and glory are far behind me. But I know of someone who may be able to assist you in the event that the worst comes to pass.
Oh, and whom should that be?
Oh, you'll meet them. In the event that the worst does come to pass. I'll put in a good word for you.
Suppose all I can say is thank you.
No, thank you. This is truly inspiring. And he kind of touches his claw to the very edge of the socket where Allegra's eyes are now.
I think Kiri looks at him pointedly. Alone, remember.
Very well. But you realize, of course, that should you not be able to make it back up, well, they are mine forever.
A deal's a deal. But don't forget, a librarian always collects on her debts.
Very well. I shan't forget. Now, if all of you would join me in the elevator.
Oh, I hate so much about this, but yes, I'm gonna.
Let's go.
All right. All of you file in. If anybody has anything they need to do outside of the elevator, let me know now. But at which point, he pulls the switch and, with seemingly no resistance, pushes it to the cell and dial on that kind of like larger elevator dial, and you begin to descend. There is something about just the air in the elevator that becomes more and more foreboding. There is just, people call it the rising of, the hairs on the back of your neck, a survival instinct, the basal ganglia kicking in, letting you know you are in danger. That is true. And it seems to intensify the further and deeper you go down. But finally, after an interminably long wait, with only the jangle of the trinkets in the curator's hair antlers to basically kind of enliven the mood in the elevator, finally you reach your destination. You hear a light ding, and he gently pulls open the door and steps out. After all of you.
I think on that elevator ride down, Kiri, perhaps sensing that kind of like forebodingness you describe, pulled out that handwritten paper that she had found on what looked to be Adrian von Hollingsworth's desk.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine, as the elevator is descending, there's like the way that this would be sort of the narrative overlay of a narrator describing this, but so that everyone also has this context. The note that she picked up reads, December 17th. I've begun work building my own mind palace. Rather than make up some fantastic castles or grand manor, however, I've just used this house. I find it easier to sustain this mental location using a place I'm very familiar with. The thing is, I already find that in order to place all of the thoughts and memories I want to preserve within it, I have to change things. Rooms are bigger in my mind palace than in the real house, for example. The mental objects I'm placing there don't match the contents of the actual rooms. But that's all right. I don't regret my choice to base my palace on this house. I love this house. Funny old place. It sat vacant for so long before we came along. At least, that's what I understand to be true. The actual origins of the place are a bit murky. As a child, I always hoped for a happy family. My father made that impossible, though, and by not helping me, my mother helped him. I always sought a way to protect my younger brother. I wondered what would happen to him growing up here with our family. Well, these are the kinds of thoughts I can put in my mind palace, I suppose. And I think as Kiri is reading this as the elevator descends, it's interesting because at the mention of Mind Palace, she first thinks Allegra. But as the letter goes on, it seems to be describing something else, someone who perhaps lived here, someone who belongs to this family, someone with a younger brother, who she certainly does not have. And so I think she has these sorts of thoughts are percolating in the back of her brain. And on the ride down, she sort of shares them with the others.
At which point, I think, as you are kind of leaving the elevator, the curator looks at you searchingly with Allegra's eyes and says, "Every haunted house was just a house before. Every villain, every monster, a creature, a beast, or perhaps a child before they became what they became. Names have power, expectations, events mold them, and those names become more and more suiting, I find, as time passes. Food for thought." And he begins, you realize, stepping into a vast, truly vast room. Littered about this place are weaponry of untold varieties, dug into the dirt like tombstones. Maces, swords, discarded broken rifles and weapons. And at a distance, as you begin kind of moving into the room, you see at the very vast center of this chamber, in a chamber that must be at least 100 feet wide, with a ceiling that you cannot see, there appears in the center kind of a dully glimmering figure, about up to Maurice's waist, you would gather by relative distance. And just beyond that figure, this kind of glimmering mass, you see a number of stairs that lead up. More like almost like a raised dais than an actual stairwell or stairway. What do you do?
I think I'm a little perturbed by the amount of discarded weaponry as I'm stepping into this space. Does it look like it's just sort of been, like it was once part of a collection, like it's just sort of been thrown around in the sense that it's just sort of been left, or does it look like it has been used?
A number of it, a lot of the stuff that is discarded and broken looks like it has been used. But there are racks of weapons in places as well, almost in relation to these kind of like, placed swords. But everything is worn. Everything has seen use. Not everything is broken, but it all looks as though it has seen combat. Some of them are caked in blood.
Okay.
And rust.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
I want to get a closer look at this figure.
Very well.
Does this feel more like a mausoleum or a battlefield?
Like a battlefield. In point of fact, as that thought occurs to you, Okris, you realize it feels like the war. It feels like a ruined a part of the ruined expanse. But nothing quite so just desolated, and nothing quite so almost artful as the way these weapons have been discarded, almost like in a radius around this central figure. And as you guys advance on it, that figure rises. And point of fact, you realize that dull shimmer is armor, plate mail. And in parts, there is a dark glimmer to it that rises, that seems to kind of almost like effulge in crevices that are worn and cracked through the armor. And it begins to turn with a dull clank. And if there were a track that you would assign to this music-wise, I'm going to send it to you now. You see this...
It's giving Dark Souls, boss.
You see this figure rise and turn to you, a ruined cape on its back, and the Forsaken Battle Mage turns to look through a closed beaver from its helmet and begins moving forward. You have this moment to decide your course of action.
I have to figure out his attack animation so I can time out my clunky dodge rolls. Oh my god, I'm feeling the stress.
Yeah. You see this figure move inexorably forward. However, you realize that there's something that, even as a concept, has persisted in even this world, in the actuality, which is you understand the speed of light. You know how fast it moves. The idea of E equals MC squared, of the theory of relativity and of space-time and light years. That is still a concept that even from Shadow, I think even Maurice, you hold on to. There was conjecture about the nature of light from your time and your time, both Kiri and Gabrielle, but no less fast is the speed of darkness, and it will move inexorably forward quicker than you can imagine as it catches the light. And the speed of darkness means that it's going to move after each one of your turns.
Oh, Lord.
The Forsaken Battle Mage, before all of you start a far distance from this creature, this kind of entity, it is going to zoom forward. What are all of your intentions as this thing takes its first action?
I greet it.
You greet it.
Hail.
Oh.
Hail, friend.
Okay. All right. What are all of your other actions, the rest of you?
Kiri throws up, as her reaction, her sort of free Chestnore's glass skin, so her flesh becomes mirrored. She gains +1 to defense against magic and total immunity to unwanted minor magic and flux effects.
Okay.
I'm gonna do some brand new stuff.
Okay.
I'm going to access a level 8 out of my forte called Spreading the Choir.
Okay.
I'm going to send forth a part of my legion to possess this creature.
You are going to attempt to use the choir.
Those affected work with us as if we were one entity, even to their own detriment. They are essentially mind controlled.
Okay. You are going to have to roll for that.
Yeah, I know.
And then Okris, what are you doing?
Armoring up.
Okay. It is going to pick the person that is most threatening to it. Because you have armored yourself, because you have given a greeting, it is going to zoom forward to Gabrielle. Its first action before you can cast this spell is going to be to reach into your chest and try to pull out your heart. So I need you to make me a level 10 dodge roll. I need you to do that for 2 successes.
All right, let's go.
Damn, second base already?
I know, right? Buy a girl a drink first. Well, I'm blah, blah, blah. I can put a physicality into that. Yes, correct.
Yeah,
I also
absolutely.
think I have a plus. No.
You can spend just so you guys know, you can spend a physicality, obviously, to dodge and do whatever you need to, because this is a dodge roll.
Yes.
But remember also that you can spend 1 physicality to negate 1 wound of damage that is done to you at any point. Okay?
Okie dokie. So I rolled a 9 and a 7, which will give me 110 success, but not 1 on the other one. However, one of the house dice is also a 9.
Did you roll 2?
Yeah, the other one was a 5.
Okay. So they're not both higher, so you're fine.
Okay.
So the house does not act, but instead what is going to happen is it is going to be a glancing strike as you just move out of the way to cast your spell. As it rips through your jacket and part of your torso. Basically with what you realize is a mailed gauntlet. It rips through your defenses. You are going to take 3 points of damage.
Okay. I do have 2 armor up on me. What does that mean? I get 1 damage, or how does it work?
You're only going to take 1 damage in this case.
I think I know after so many years.
Yeah, and you see it zoom past you and then turn quickly as if to prepare for its next strike. You can go ahead and cast your spell. You are trying to hit 12 twice.
Okay, not impossible. Let's see what I got to bolster that. I do think I have something for it. Well, I can bonk a sortilege into it if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Okay. Ooh. Right, I have combative caster. Oh! Ow! No, it's gonna be it. It's gonna hang on, I might screw myself over with the house dice. Okay. 2 9s.
Okay.
We'll make it be 12 exactly.
Uh-huh.
And for the house dice, 1 was a 7 and 1 was a 9.
Okay. So you're fine. You have both. You cannot, meats is fine. So what is your command in this for its next action?
Hold.
It will pause. You have given your compatriots an opportunity. You do not know how long, as you feel something surging against your
I
grasp.
have to check each round for a depletion.
Absolutely. However, you get the sense that this thing is pushing really hard, like it might be able to resist this, given enough time. But in this moment, for its next action, it is held. And you can see your own blood dripping from the mailed gauntlet. Who's up next?
I'm doing math right now, so somebody else should go.
Yeah.
I have a infiltrate-y thing I can try
Do
to
it.
do. So I'm gonna go invisible, and use my spell to do that. Which, let me pull it up. Invisibility. Dun, dun. One of my favorite things to do is sneak around. Vanish from sight.
Okay.
Level 6 with a flourish, and if I choose, but I won't choose in this case because I'm not trying to attract attention, I will let the puff of smoke go by the wayside. I disappear, becoming invisible. There is a check each round on this. Level 6 color is gray.
Okay.
And so I think what Kiri wants to do here is go invisible and then start approaching this creature enough to be within sort of touching distance of it.
Okay. Excellent. So in that case, it's going to go after your turn, at which point it shakes off the effect that you have wrought, Gabrielle, as it uses its speed of darkness, and some sort of part of it shears off a piece of its armor as it seems to regain control of its faculties and look to where it saw Kiri before recentering back on you.
Yikes.
Real quick question. Where is everybody in relation to this? Because you are in melee. You are close, Kiri. You are moving closer to probably to melee. Where are Okris and Maurice?
Presumably close.
Yeah. Are you guys both?
Yeah, not that far away. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not in melee range yet because I haven't moved.
I just want to make sure that I understand zones for this, just so you guys, so I can kind of keep this in mind.
It swings its giant bloodborne axe. We know if we're within the.
Yeah. I think seeing that the time for talking has passed, Maurice wants to move. I've been staring at the level by effect table, and I can't come up with what would be a proper cost to increase movement speed. Like how expensive that is.
In that case, I would say, is there anything that you have for raising a skill, or
That is, you can +1 on a significant action once, or +1 on a significant action ongoing.
Yeah.
That's 1 and 2 specifically.
Yeah, I would absolutely count that as part of the level of effects and movement speed.
Yeah, so we'll call this weave swiftness and courage, and I'll spend my last 2 sorcery to be a speedy boy. What's on those stairs? What's on that dais, baby?
You see, as you kind of rush to the stairs, you manage to get far away from the fight. You see a figure in a tattered uniform, kind of reminiscent of the Vance, with wild graying hair, muttering beyond what looked to be 2 massive black burning braziers. And as you step forward towards kind of like this scene, you feel a force push back against you and not allow you to pass. At which point the Guardian, the Forsaken Battle Mage, turns his attention to you. However, he is still dealing with the most present threat, which it appears are the 2 of you moving closer into melee range. It is going to raise its arm for its action. Who is next? From a far distance, you hear the Curator. I think you just see the Curator watching with folded arms the scene unfold. Who's next again?
I think it's me.
Yep, go ahead.
If I were to try to blast this fine, upstanding, gentle creature with magic, what would that look like? How difficult does that seem like that would be?
That's going to be a 12. Twice.
All right. Forte ability is.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've spent 4 on my armor, so I get +2 armor, and enemies within near range of me take 1 damage per round.
Yeah.
And that increases to 2. However, do I need to roll anything for that?
I think that if it's a passive effect, it just affects you.
Cool. So am I within near range or?
I would say that you've made it to near range. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So 2 points of damage to our fine, upstanding Dark Souls boss.
It does not seem to affect it.
Hate that. Does it seem to not affect it because it can't be affected, or because it has magic that is countering mine?
You see a light kind of glimmer off the plate mail. However, notably, there is a chunk of it that has been sheared off that seems to kind of recede, but the rest of the armor almost seems to cover a patch with a field. You sense that it is less effective than when it's like it first encountered you, but is still enough to block the damage. As you do this,
well, this doesn't require me to do anything. That just happens.
That just happens. But you're still casting a spell, and you are still taking your action, correct?
I mean, I thought I already did that.
Yeah. Well, this is what is happening in response.
This is round one.
That. Yeah.
Okay.
This is round one.
Cool. Yeah. So that is what I'm still doing. Yeah.
Cool. So what happens in response to that is that first off, you are going to you have a flash of memory. You see as your back is bending it to break from laughter in the middle of the war, and Root is rushing forward. You see a uniformed figure calling out to try to direct them to your position before falling back to defend the tower, the kind of spire or steeple of the Church of the Unknowable Angel. That figure that is almost like an edit in reality is beginning to gain more clarity. You see from the edges of its extremities, like the definition in its mailed hands as it directs you before falling back to defend the rest of the cataract.
Would are there any rank insignia?
The strangest part is the details. They're so close. They're right there, but you cannot make them out.
Held. Is it holding anything?
It is not holding anything, but you see energy swirling into its hand. In point of fact, you see that coalesce into what looks like a massive halberd that is glimmering with a sickening purple light, and it swings. Everybody in melee range is going to need to make a dodge roll of 10 twice.
That. Am I in melee range yet? Did that happen? Or am I just on the way to melee range?
What does your heart tell you / what does your honesty as a game player tell you? And you can be as sincere with this as you like.
I think Kiri would have used whatever her full movement was. I don't know if her full movement would have gotten her from one side of the room to the other.
Okay. Yeah, I will say that would close the distance. So you are going to be affected by this. Everybody roll me dodge 10 twice.
Yeah, no, didn't happen. 3 and 7.
All right.
Wait, the house dice.
I'm putting 3 movement bene into this.
Okay.
And
1.
1 sortilege, because I do have the advanced sortilege and also expensive endeavor, so I can do both.
Cool. Yeah, that was what I was looking for, was expansive endeavor. Yeah, go ahead.
Got it once and not the second time.
Okay. So you are going to take half points from this, which is you are going to take 2 points of damage. If your armor negates that, then you take none.
Is it magical?
Yeah.
No, this is just... Is it magic? Damage or physical?
It is melee magic. It is what you realize, Okris, is battle magic. You feel like you have seen this before. You feel like you have seen somebody do this before. And a massive arc swings. Anybody who failed takes 4. Anybody who succeeded takes 2.
So that's just going to be 2 incoming.
What about
for me
partial?
for the armor.
Partial is 2 points.
Okay. And because I have 2 points, well, I have 3 points of armor.
Mm-hmm.
Does that? Wait, no, I only have 2 points of armor now because the armor of the 13th hour is gone.
Yep, yep.
I have 2 points of armor, so that negates the 2 points of damage.
Yes, that's totally fine.
None of my dice were higher.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, in that case, yeah, I think you realize, Kiri, as this thing, does this eat into your armor? How many points of armor do you have?
So my Chesner's glass skin gives me a +1 to defense against magic. So I mean, I think it eats that, like, through that, but that is like a bit of it slows it down, right?
Yeah.
So I think I take, of the 2 I was cast, I take 1.
Absolutely.
Full damage.
I will say, however, that cut is enough for you to bleed. At which point the visor turns towards you. That said, and also just the fact that it found purchase on some figure that's not there has turned its attention. So in this case, Gabrielle, you are up. Make a roll for your depletion.
Okay. Well, technically, didn't it already deplete? You told me that.
Oh, yeah, it did. Never mind. My apologies. But you did eat one of its actions and seem to have sheared off a bit of its armor.
Great. I used a lot of my sorcery for that move, so I'm going to try to shoot at it, which I know feels counterproductive because he's a man made of armor, but we're going to do it anyway.
Okay.
We're going to see if I can, like, knock some of his armor off. I have to do math real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. You are trying to hit 12 twice.
2, 3. It's fine. 1. I think it's +6 that I get to it. Yes, it is. Okay. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay. Well. Okay. 14 and 13. Once added.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, describe what this looks like as you fire.
Let me just quickly roll the house dice to see if anything got over that. No, but one got exactly the same amount that I had. We're looking at 7 and 8 specifically. And the damage is... Oh, God. I should just write down what my total damage is so I can stop doing math forever.
Totally fair.
I have a question for you. So my combative caster usually allows me to inflict +2 damage, but I get an extra +1 if a spell ends up... oh, no. This doesn't count.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Okay.
No, it's just my magical gun, so it's not that. It is +6, I think.
Okay, so
Yes.
6 damage?
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
Let's go for that for now. It's definitely not less than that.
Yeah. I will say that manages to get through its armor as you kind of scour not only a piece of its kind of exposed flesh. What does that look like as you shoot off a piece of its armor?
I think it just comes as fast as anything. I'm in my Velociraptor form. There's nothing better than a Velociraptor with a sniper rifle, folks. And what's fun about this is that this particular spell, its facet is the dark. So 2 can move at the speed of darkness, buddy. And I think as soon as I feel that connection snap from my spell, the rifle is in my hand. I'm aiming down the sights and I'm taking off 1 piece of its armor. Let's say I got one of the pauldrons off.
Okay, cool. The pauldron that you have knocked off was connected to the chest piece, which seems to dip a little bit. And you see that at the start of the chest piece, there is almost like a nameplate, like woven army style.
Okay.
And the letter kind of exposed on this nameplate is V. The next thing you have, however, is a flash
It's
of
10 damage. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
It's 10 damage. It does not do as much as you would think. However, you have sheared off a piece of that armor, and in doing this damage, you have a flash of memory, which is things didn't quite add up at the fall of the unknowable Angel's Church. Essentially, when were you delivered? When did anyone give birth? Who was there to take you into the gray? And these memories come flooding back. As your mother, you realize you see a figure almost in your mind's eye through the Reverend Mott's mind's eye. You see a figure very sharply edited and fuzzy in reality, delivering a la a combat medic you from your mother's body after she has, you realize, has been kind of almost this kind of sickening touch has been laid on you by a member of what was then the enemy, who was then your uncle. You see him bound in a cage and almost kind of pulled tight by this combat medic while trying to hold you and deliver you in his arms. But the image is kind of almost grainy and staticky before you can get any sense of the definition of this figure. And you flash back, and he's going to move, which is he is going to see the blood spatter on the ground, look in directly at you, Kiri, and pivot his shoulders to meet you square. And seems to be studying you as though he knows exactly where you are. Next action. Who's up?
This barrier that prevented me from going on the dais. Maurice is going to make a guess that it has something to do with these braziers. So he's going to try and manipulate the braziers. He's going to use sortilege and his strength amidst.
Okay. What are you rolling?
Physicality.
Okay. So you're going to try to knock them down?
Now, try and knock them down. I think. Well, I mean, I don't think I have time to suss out exactly the source of this barrier and make a move. So I think I'm just going to make a move.
I am going to go ahead and give you this for free, which is
Okay.
The braziers are beyond.
Oh, okay, okay.
However, you know that as soon as that thing seemed to notice when you touched the barrier, that he is creating it. So go ahead and take your action with that knowledge.
So there's nothing. Okay. In which case,
I will tell you this. If you would like to try to pierce through the barrier to let yourself in, you can certainly try to do that.
yeah, I want to. Yeah, I think, and I'm out of sorcery, so I think the way I got to do is I got to punch through it.
Okay.
So same plan, different focus.
All right.
So sortilege plus physicality plus 2 house die.
You are
Right?
you are trying to hit 10 twice. You are trying to beat
I'm trying to hit 10
spell.
twice.
You're trying
Okay.
to beat his spell.
All right, I need to roll 7s on both.
Yeah.
That's 1 failure. That's 2 failures. That's a 7 on the house die, and the house die beat me twice.
Okay. So, normally that would mean that you would get a doom. However, I'm going to make a hard move, which is Kiri. You see that figure zoom forward as it takes its action to grip you and begin digging its mailed fingers into your chest through your clothing. You have I would say you have 1 remaining action as you have gotten in touch distance with this thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I want its true name. And I have to touch it to get it.
Okay. So you want its true name.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say you are going to get an asset to this. Go ahead and make me... This is... I'd say that... Oof, what role would you propose would go here?
Well, so this is built off of a forte ability, right? Which is understanding.
Okay.
And it's building to a forte ability, which is about using this name. But to use the name, I have to get it first.
Mm-hmm.
And so this coming into melee range is about using this understanding forte ability to pull that information from the creature. And I think the argument that I would make here for how this is, I mean, she's still got this like Allegra painting on her, right?
Yeah.
Allegra has the ability to pull and contain information because that's what she is. She copyrights things. She is like about owning people and owning names and property and IP. And so I think if this functions, if this works, and what this role is connected to is actually an ability of Allegra's Kiri has never been taught or know how to use, that is coming through Kiri as a conduit, but it actually does not belong to her.
So in that case, what I'm going to say is I'm going to give you +2 to the roll. This is going to be a sorcery roll. You are going to need to hit 12 twice.
All right, I think that's possible. I have sorcery to add. Thankfully, I have not had to use this. I will add another dice with sortilege. Also have. All right, here goes. All right, first up we have. Oh, that's a 13.
It's one.
That's one. And that's a good roll. Good. Okay. Wow, that was more than I thought it would be. 14.
Okay. Roll your house dice.
All right. Yes, I have not done that. We are going to roll house dice now. All right. House dice 1 is that matches. That's a 13. And
Okay. So, what I'm going to describe happens simultaneously, which is he's going to take his action as soon as I narrate the result of this. You gain a flash of memory, and you see a tall and imposing figure in clear, sharp detail. A veteran soldier, mailed, a battle mage, who religiously wears his war veterans attire and uniform. Emblazoned on the nameplate is a name that you struggle to read at first because you are taking in and you are wondering to yourself how you could have forgotten another member of the Cataract, how you could ever have forgotten the battle mage bodyguard of Allegra, who would have accompanied her anywhere. How could you have forgotten Veroth, of all people? And as your lips mouth the word that makes up his name, the syllables, you feel something in your chest give as Veroth dispels you. All of you who are privy to the scene watch as Kiriel von Hollingsworth appears to disintegrate into light, leaving behind a grimoire, which the Forsaken battle mage, its armor sheared off, seems to grip and look at in idle curiosity before tossing idly on the ground to look back at all of you.
Oh my god.
And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Well, fuck.
Okay. So
It's not true. It's impossible.
I'm afraid that you will have to once again deal with Veroth, the Forsaken Battle Mage, next time. But in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this probably next to last episode set within the Darkest House of our Invisible Sun stream. We are going to keep everything tight. It's pretty late for all of us here. That said, does anybody have a shout out they want to make sure that they give before the end of the show?
Oh, it's jeffstormer.com.
jeffstormer.com.
Olive Garden.
Yeah. Go Birds. Excellent. Anybody else?
I mean, keep fighting the good fucking fight, man. We're all tired out here. You still got to do it.
Yeah, pretty much. But in the meantime, everybody take care of yourselves, take care of each other, give help where you can, support those who need it, and may the invisible sun shine on you all. Thank you guys. Good night. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Or a week, actually. Yep. Bye-bye.